Mike Hanson is our budget and accounting manager.
Good morning. My name is Michael Hanson. I'm the budget and accounting manager here at PSTA. The action item before you asks that you approve proposed millage rate to be transmitted to the property appraiser so that they can prepare their trend notices. The proposed millage rate that we're recommending is 0.7305 mils. It's unchanged from the previous fiscal year, and it's the same rate that was assumed in the fiscal year 2014 budget draft that was presented on June 26th. The Planning Committee met on July 17th and reviewed and approved of the proposed millage rate that we're recommending, and we are recommending today that you approve the proposed millage rate of 0.7305 to transmit to the property appraiser. Are there any questions?
Are there any members of the public who wish to speak? Mr. Hunt, you have 3 minutes.
Morning. I'm sorry, I just walked in the door, so I might be a little disheveled here. With regards to the millage and with regards to the budget, I'm a little confused. And the fiscal year 12 actual expenses were $54.6 million, showing a $7.8 million surplus listed on page 9. And on page 10, a list of the total revenue for fiscal year 12 was $62.3 million, but it noted no transfer to or from the reserves of the $7 million. It just seems like there's a big vacillation back and forth. As a matter of fact, when I think back a couple of years ago, when the projection of 2011, 12, and 13 budgets showed basically a $2 million deficit in 11, a $5.7 million deficit, I believe it was in 12, and then an almost $8 million deficit in 13, and it seems that that's not been the case. And apparently, in reading the 2012, there ended up being a $7.8 million surplus. Is that correct? So that's what's on the statement on page 9. So when you add the $7.8 million surplus to the projected $5.7 million deficit, it's roughly $13 million swing in the budget in a 2-year period of time from projections, or a 22% mistake or miscalculation in projections. And I wonder if it's not time, before we get started into all of this $100 million arena or $1 billion arena, that we start with a baseline external capital audit. And let's see and get our books straight, make sure we know what we're doing. I know that we were saying last month there was a $3 million swing to the good. Now we've lost $1 million in 30 days. And I realize there's a vacillation, and this is, I believe, a statement that was made Monday. And I know there's always a vacillation in budgets, but I think when we start talking about 15–20% differences over the period of 2 years, at a time when Charlotte is sending a squadron of their original transit planners to meetings like the Clinton Summit, trying to find help 2 months ago, actually a month ago, as to how they're going to dig out, because the sales tax idea is not working. And they're trying to get muster up the courage to go back to the legislature and ask for a transit increase in their millage rate in Charlotte. So we are on Detroit territory here. We are talking about something that is just so monumental, and I see that the transfer wasn't made, the reserves. I haven't heard anybody else mention it. $7.7 million. However, that's just one aspect of I think, a situation where we need to have an external audit, a complete capital audit, and maybe you've done that recently, and I'm just not aware of that. And if so, then good, we have a baseline to start with. And so that's my request. I'd like to formally put on the record that I think that we need to do that and not be so fast about, again, as I always say, I think we should fix the buses and try to fix our system without expanding into a whole new arena in the environment that we find the world in today. This is Fool's Russian, where angels fear to tread, and all around us, municipalities are having such problems, states are having problems, and we seem to be willing to just continue on down this road of things where, you know, Charlotte's the example. I guess Charlotte's not the
Okay, you
example.
can wrap up, your time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Brad, did you want to address how we've come about with the budget and some of the savings we've realized and the revenue increases since our last meeting?
Yeah, I'll just quickly say, and maybe, Barbara, you could just get with Mike, I don't have the pages that you're referring to, and we can look at that. We can look at the materials, but I will say that, as I think the board knows, and as Mike certainly knows, we do have a independent audit done every year. It's a requirement of the federal government that we do have audited annual numbers. That the audit for the current fiscal year, which will end in October, will actually start before the fiscal year ends in next month, and carry on, and we'll have an audit report of the actual numbers for the year end completed probably around December or January. And that is every year. The plan, and I'll have to look at the numbers that you're looking at. We have, as I think you know and as the board knows, plan to have substantial reserves or build up reserves in up until this year in order to balance what we're projecting to be greater expenses in the next couple of years with the built up reserves. The numbers have changed. I don't think they've changed by $15 million or in total, but we have had some positive, net positive results by having lower expenses or greater revenues than the original projections. So the general framework of our balanced budget holds true. Saving money in early years and using that money to balance future years. That still is the case, but we've been able to extend that through reductions in expenses or greater revenues. But Mike, if you could just check with her to see what that, just so we can look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt the proposed millage?
Second.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Okay, seeing none, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Next item has been